Welcome to Life Beyond B.S, where we ditch the belief systems and the bullshit and get real about life. Here it's about awareness, choice, and creating joy that actually lasts. No perfection, just honest talk and powerful change. I'm your host, Heather McNally, and let's get into it. Hi, friends, and welcome back to Life Beyond B.S. I'm Heather McNally, your host, and today we have a great guy who is somebody that I met through a mastermind experience that I attended, and now I've been able to meet him twice, and I'm so lucky to be able to call him my friend. His name is Lancelot Theobald Jr. He's a former pro athlete who reinvented himself into a purpose-driven performing artist. As an actor, he's co-starring in a film coming out this month, March 2026, called The Veteran, and also in the film Security Guard, currently streaming on Amazon Prime, Fox Soul, Tubi, Roku, as well as many other platforms. He's a producer, a master tap dancer, and the creator of the T3 tap technique, a methodology that's transforming how tap is taught in dance schools. He's also a certified fitness instructor who created a trademark workout program called Absolute Fusion Fitness for athletes and workout warriors, as well as B2P2 core training, a core program that has over 100 different exercises using a foam roller. But that's just part of his journey. He's also a #1 best-selling author of They Haven't Made an Axe That Can Chop Down a Dream, and the host of The Power of Reinvention on Roku's iDefine TV, and co-host of the New York City Mastermind Experience on Apple Podcast. It's a TV show and podcast where he dives deep with guests who've turned setbacks into comebacks and transformation through resilience. He also talks about leadership, connection, mindset, entrepreneurship, and personal growth. His mission? To show people that reinvention isn't just possible, it's powerful. Whether you're an individual athlete, artist, entrepreneur, business owner, or just someone feeling stuck, he helps people reinvent themselves through a program he developed called Stuck to Unstoppable, where transformation ignites reinvention. Through his motivational speaking, workshops, and workbook, he helps you take actionable steps on beginning the process of reconstructing your mindset, and then he teaches you the 5 keys to reinvention. Where you start doesn't have to be where you finish. Your past doesn't define your possibilities, potential, or purpose. Only your mindset does. I love it. Thank you so much for being here today, Lancelot. I'm so happy to have you here.
It's my pleasure, Heather. Thank you for inviting me on your show. And I'm looking forward to having a chat with you. So let's get
Yes,
it
we're going to have a
started.
great chat.
Yes.
So do me a favor and tell me, this is awesome. You are full of service, of love, of heart and soul to give to people and show people how they can reinvent themselves. And
Who
so I
is,
want you to tell me a little bit about who is Lancelot in your heart and your soul.
well, I'm a giver, I'm a server. Long ago, I realized what my passion and what my purpose was. When you go through things like I went through a deadly plane crash, a train accident. I almost drowned and I was in a car crash on my graduation high school for graduation. And when you go through things like that, you tend to see things in a different lens. There's different narratives that you can place on it. And fortunately enough, as a youngster, my narrative was that I was a gift from God, because why else would I survive 4 near-death experiences within 6 months of each other? Because it all happened when I was 17 years old within 6 months. And so once you create that type of narrative, and I only understand this now because I've studied it. So this is how come I can describe it like this. But after understanding and placing that narrative on it, I had a dream. And in that dream, God came to me and he said, "You've been chosen to be a beacon of positive light and energy to people around the world." Now, that was at 17. Now, you don't really know what that means, but you understand that this God has his hand on your shoulder and you have to carry yourself in a certain way and you have to do things a certain way. And from that point on, I just had a different approach on how I dealt with people. I loved differently, I embraced differently, and there was always a sense of service. So, without really understanding what I was doing or feeling, I was doing based off of God was directing everything. So, my entire life since I was young has been about service and helping others, loving others. For example, I can remember after playing professional football, I came home and I started my own business. And then I had a sporting apparel company. And then I'd give away t-shirts to kids that couldn't afford it. And that was, I mean, where did that come from? You're trying to make money, but yet we were giving away t-shirts to kids who couldn't afford it. Just
Mhm.
things like that. And from there, it just continued to escalate. And my life has been about showing people that you can reinvent yourself several different times. You just have to have structures and systems. And I've always reinvented myself with the thought process of showing people that it's possible. So it's
Mhm.
everything I've always done has been okay, now I'm going to accomplish this, and I'm going to turn around and show them that I could do this. And if
Mhm.
I could do it, you could do something similar to that. Because once you have the mindset, there's not a thing that you can't do. So that's me in a
Right.
nutshell.
That's amazing. Okay, let's go back to you're 17 years old and you have these four near-death experiences. And
Yes.
that's just, I mean, for somebody to have one is crazy. To have
Hmm.
four in 6 months at
Yes.
17 years old, I've never heard of anything like that in my life.
Hmm.
So I'm sure that each experience you had to have been thinking, I can't believe this happened, and I can't believe I survived again. So tell me a
I
little bit about how you felt about that.
The first one I felt like that. The first one was the
Yeah.
plane crash. And that was like, okay, I cannot believe that I'm going through it. In fact, so to tell you a little story about what happened, I was being recruited to different schools, and this was a school that flew me up in a private airlines to visit their
Oh,
school. It was the University of Maine, and it was a small airlines. So I'm used to flying into the big jumbo jets. But because I
mhm,
was so tired, I just got on and went to sleep. And that's the best thing that could have happened to me because the next thing I
mm,
know, we're going down like this. So it's like a roller coaster. So I'm in my chair sitting and I wake up and I look around and people are screaming, there's smoke in the plane. A little girl next to me is hysterical crying. And I wipe my eyes and I
oh,
look, and the two pilots were on fire. Literally, their body, 70% of their body was on fire. There was a fire in the cockpit. And I'm
wow.
looking and I'm like, okay, this can't be like really happening. And
Mhm,
I went back to sleep. I totally went
mm.
back to sleep. So that
You
was
thought
the
you were
first
dreaming?
time that I said, okay,
Mm,
this is not happening to me. Everything after
yeah.
that, it was like I was calm. When I
Mhm,
got into the train crash and it derailed, and then crashed, I was calm. In fact, I was out here helping other people get up and make sure everybody was all right. When I got into the car crash, I was calm. The only other time that I really started to panic was with the drowning. That was like a horrific experience, and I still have residual effects from that because I watched a friend of mine's drown right in front of me, and it was like nothing you could do about it. And it was like you see him, his arm goes up, he's yelling and screaming, and he just disappears into the vast air. And
wow.
now you see him, now you don't. So that
Yeah.
one was the one that was very impactful. The other ones,
Yeah.
the other two, it was like I was very calm. And it was basically because I knew at that point that, I was survived the plane crash. Well, I mean, I could probably survive
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. And literally you did. And thank God.
Yeah, yes.
But what a message already at 17 years old.
Hmm.
What terrible experiences, but what an incredible light bulb that you had, I suppose, that you were like, all
Hmm.
right, God has me here for a purpose. I have something to do here,
Hmm.
which, a lot of people don't find until they're much, much older. So I think
Exactly.
that that's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah,
So you were being recruited to college to play college level sports.
yes,
What
yes.
was the sport that you were playing, and how did going to college feel after having survived those experiences, knowing that you're meant for more?
I played football and
Hmm.
went to college in a situation where I was a young urban kid going to the University of Maine because after I got into the plane crash, I lost all my other scholarships. So the only other school that honored their scholarship was the school that I was going up to when I got into the plane crash. So I wind up
Hmm.
going to University of Maine and actually having a good time. And it was because I knew that I was a gift that I was able to, you could have planted me in anywhere and I would have survived. I was one of,
Hmm.
let's say, there was maybe 10 black guys on the school on the team, and then there was only like 15 black people in the school. And
Wow.
I had no problem because I understood who I was. I understood
Hmm.
God had his hand on my shoulder. And so I embraced the moment, I embraced the people around me and had no problems. It wasn't until my senior year that the new coach came in after I'm playing my junior and senior, my sophomore and junior year. Started my junior year. Senior year was supposed to be my year to be the big star. New coach comes in.
Hmm.
Make a long story short, I get kicked off the team as a senior.
Hmm.
And I had to fight my way
Wow.
back. And then this coach tried to blackball me. But again,
Hmm.
when you understand who you are and understanding that God has his hand on your shoulder, I decided I was going to fight back. And I fought for my scholarship. I got my scholarship back. Then he said, okay, you got your scholarship back because he took my scholarship from me. And I went in front of a board
Hmm.
because I missed the practice because I was sick. And he threw me off the
Oh,
team.
wow.
And that was
Wow.
to be honest, that was the second practice I missed. The first practice, I overslept. He ran me, you're
Hmm.
supposed to do that. The second practice, I actually got sick. He kicked me off the team before I can even explain what happened. So I went
Wow.
in front of a board to fight for my scholarship. And the board
Hmm.
said, you can't do that. So he had to give me the scholarship back. Once he gave me the scholarship back, he then said, okay, now you have to come in as a walk on. And what a walk on means is you come in as a guy that's just trying out for the first time. Now, I've been starting since the sophomore year. Junior year,
Hmm.
I started and had a great season. Now I have to come back and walk on. But I decided to
Hmm.
work 7 hours a day, 6 days a week, because I knew that if I was going to get a shot, I was going to have to be twice as good as I was before. And I knew that
Hmm.
God had my back. He had his hand on my shoulder. And by the time I came back, I was in the best shape of my life and an even better football player than I was when I left. And he kept putting me in and taking me out. And I knew God was going to give me that opportunity. There was only 2 games left. All of a sudden, the whistle blows. The guy that was in front of me got hurt. So now they had to put me in. First time I touched the ball, I ran for 65 yards. I ran up running for 180 yards, 3 touchdowns. We won the last 2 games. We beat a nationally ranked team the last game of the season that had 183 yards. These are crazy numbers. And wind up becoming a
Hmm.
hero. So what that taught me, once again, is God has got his hand on my shoulder. And the other thing it taught me is that it's not a thing that I can't accomplish if I'm willing to put the work in. See, I took
Yeah.
the things that hurt me and I used it as fuel to ignite the full potential that was locked inside of me. I took the trauma, I turned it into my treasure. I took the pain and I turned it into my pleasure.
Hmm.
And so I teach
Hmm.
people no matter what has happened to you, you came out on the other side. So you learn from that. Use it as fuel because you're here for a reason. You got through it for a reason. And I talk from a sense of going through it myself. So this is not something I learned in a book. I went through it
Hmm.
and I came out the other side. And I know what that feeling is like when you all of a sudden you are ostracized one week and then the next week they're putting you up on a pedestal because you put all the work in and you have
Hmm.
overcame. That is a powerful feeling that take with me until this day.
Yeah, it's incredibly powerful. And that was like your fifth comeback in life already at such a young age. You
At
learned
20,
so
before
much.
21 years old. That's right, before 21
Yeah,
years old.
that's
Yep,
wild. At such a young age. The human brain isn't even completely formed until you're 25. So for you to have gone through all that, you got such a different perspective in life so young. You knew that you
mhm,
could do it. You knew that if you put your mind to it, you're going to
that's
work
right.
for it, you're going to get it. And I
That's right.
think that right there alone is just such a massive lesson for people to learn. And I'm just humbled by it because what you went through by 21 years old is more than most people go through in a lifetime.
hmm hmm
Yeah.
It was,
So,
yeah, and I think it was, in fact, I don't think, I know it's for a reason. God was setting
mhm,
me up to do what, because I'm a firm believer that all roads have led me right here. I'm with you.
absolutely.
I'm speaking to your audience because I'm supposed to be here. There's a bigger vision
Right.
for me out there, and it's to inspire and to motivate millions. You know what I mean? So it starts here. I just got into this space last year. As a speaker,
Hmm.
I created my own from stuck to it. All of that happened within a year because I listened to an
Mm,
inner voice inside of me. And that's one of the things
yeah.
I teach and
And you
talk
have to
about.
put that fear. Yes.
You have to
And you
put
have
it
to put
aside.
any fear behind you. Yeah.
That's right.
Did
That's
you
right.
have
And
any fear going through all of this by the age of 21?
did I have fear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There was times when, first of all, when it first happened, I was devastated.
Mm,
Devastated because you have to understand football wasn't just what I played, it was who I was. Because I always
mhm,
felt that football was the platform I was going to use in order to do God's work. I was never going to be a
mhm,
superstar as a professional, but I always thought it was to get the platform to be able to inspire the masses. So when you
mhm,
believe that from the bottom of your heart and then it gets taken from you unjustly, it's devastating. And the decisions
mhm,
you have to make are scary. Do I stay here? Because back then, coaches were dictators. It's not like now. What the coach says goes. So when he said you're kicked off the team, who was I going to? I couldn't go to my parents.
mhm.
I could I became a man and
Yeah.
I decided that I was going to fight this system. And I was fearful
Mhm,
because everybody was against me at that point because the media had did a big story on it. You know what I mean? People in town started treating me different because I was the man.
mhm,
All of a sudden now the man has dropped to the bottom. That brings fear, that brings insecurity.
mm,
And when you make
yeah.
decisions, you have to walk past those fears, walk past those insecurities, and believe that God has got you or whoever you believe in. I'm not here to try to push anything,
Mhm,
but there's a higher power. Whatever you
mhm,
believe in it. And if you just
mhm.
move past that fear, there's victory on the other side. I promise you, I've seen it. I've gone through it many times, many times.
Yeah. You absolutely have. And I love how you talk about pain into, what did you say? Pain into
And it's
pleasure,
a
but
pleasure.
also pain into purpose. Because
Mhm.
I feel that what you've gone through in life, and I feel the same way about what I do, what you've gone through in life brings you to where you are. Would you change things? Sometimes you think, yeah, this would have been nice, or it would have been more fun if this happened, or like for my example, it would have been great if I had a dad. But at
Right,
the
right,
same time, would
right,
you be where you are now if you hadn't
right.
had these life experiences?
Mhm.
And so that's such a great way to look at it. So, okay, you are no longer a professional athlete, though you are an athlete because you dance and you do exercise. I guess you are a professional athlete still. But what took you out of being a professional athlete in terms of playing football, and where did you pivot to next?
Mhm. That's an interesting story. I tried out for the New England Patriots afterwards. So again, because I knew what God had his hand on my shoulder, and I knew from the bottom of my heart that football was the platform I needed, I wind up and I only played 2 games my senior year and sporadically other games. But in those two
Hmm.
games, I got a national award, the comeback player, the Jerry Nason Award, which is the comeback
Hmm.
player given to one person in all of Division I football, and I got that award.
Wow.
So I took
Wow.
that and got me an agent. So everybody else had finished playing, they were done. They were going to be they were going into their life. I was trying to figure out
Hmm.
how to get my tryout, and I got a tryout with the New England Patriots. I didn't make it, but I got a tryout. I then
Hmm.
played semi-pro ball. And while playing semi-pro ball, an international agent saw me, gave me a contract to play in Europe. So now,
Oh,
if
wow.
this wasn't the sign that, yes, this is what you're supposed to be doing, because I didn't know they played football in Europe. All of a sudden, now I got
Mm.
somebody giving me a contract to get paid to play in Europe. I played in Europe. I came back, tried out for the Jets. Didn't make it.
Mm.
Devastated. I was crushed.
Mm.
I was stuck on devastation because I was sure this was what I was supposed to do. It took
And
me
you
about,
dedicated yourself to
and
it.
oh, you're talking about 6, 7 hours daily,
Yeah.
daily. And I was devastated to the point where I was depressed. And this went on for about a
Mm.
week and a half. And then again, that inner voice came to me one night and it said, "You have gone as far as your talents can take you. You
Mm.
have done something that no other person that you've played with accomplished. You got two NFL tryouts. You played professional ball in Europe. Pick your head up, and now it is time for you to find out what it is that God has got for you to do." And once I did that, I woke up, and then I was thinking about going back to Europe. And it's funny how God is. God sent a messenger. And my best friend came to me and said, "Yo, I'm thinking about starting a business and I want to start it with you." Now, this is after having that dream, but this is also me
Hmm.
thinking about going back to Europe to play another year. And God sent that messenger down to me. And then I said, "Okay, I'll start a business with you." So the next thing I did after playing football was I started a sporting apparel company. It was called Lance Elliott
Hmm.
Ray Anthony. And we did customized sporting apparel and t-shirts. And
Hmm.
we had contracts with Princeton University, Wagner University, Fordham, Ramapo, Rutgers. We were doing pretty well. But that was the next step I did. And it was because I knew if I could play football and go through what I went through, we could be we could be manufacturers. So we went back to school at
Mm.
FIT University and we learned about the business. And then I had a cousin who was a designer. And so he introduced me to sewers. So we
Mm.
had our own sewers, and then we learned about grading, and then we used to go to the city and pick up material. And then we would go to different schools and ask them to design what they wanted, and then we'd make custom sporting apparel. And that was the next business that I went into.
Wow. That's awesome. How long did you do that business?
We did that for about 4 years. And then
Nice.
I started feeling as though this wasn't it. It wasn't making
Hmm.
me feel the way football made me feel. And it was that inner voice inside of me because that
Hmm.
inner voice is always telling you what to align yourself with because we all have gifts
Hmm.
that God has given us or whoever you believe. And that inner voice knows that because the inner voice to me is really God and God is you and you are God. So it's telling you there's more for you out there. This was great, but this is not it. So I heard
Yep.
that. I heard that. And then I wind up meeting a guy who I was selling t-shirts to because we used to sell t-shirts on the street because back then we
Hmm.
didn't know how to get into the store. So we used to out of plastic bag and we'd sell them in the street and we
Hmm.
were selling thousands of them. And I met a guy by the
Wow.
name of Richard Willis Jr. who brought two t-shirts from me and he started telling me about himself. He was a producer
Hmm.
and he was bringing a play to California and we started talking and then we connected and then we I called him that night and he spoke more about what he was doing and then I decided to jump on board with him and then I became an executive producer And that's how I first got my foot
Mhm.
wet into the entertainment field, which in turn wind
Mhm.
up, I liked the in front of the camera and wind up studying acting. But I started off as an executive producer. So I went from football to a manufacturer to an executive producer in the
Mhm.
entertainment field. And then from there, I went into actually being an entertainer because I went back to school as an adult to study dance and acting. So that's
So
why
you
I
didn't
did.
study dance before this at all?
No, no, no. I'm the
You did.
first professional athlete to ever go back to school as an adult and then actually become a professional dancing choreographer and
Wow.
actually get
Wow. And
work
I have
as a
seen.
dancing choreographer. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Hey, you've got all these first, you've got all this reinvention. I think this is absolutely amazing. And you're talking about when you just know that you're not aligned anymore with something. And I think that
Hmm.
that's an important lesson for people to understand is that, my son, my oldest son, when he was in like eighth or ninth grade, he said, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And I said, what? And he said that I have to decide what I want to do for the rest of my life in the next 4 years because then I'm going to college and that's what I'm supposed to decide. And I told him, I said, understand something. You're putting a lot of pressure on yourself and there's no need for it. So you can go to college and get a degree in something and never work in it. I've known
Hmm.
many people who have done that. You can go to college and
I'm
get a
one of
degree
them.
and start working in it and immediately say, I hate this. I need to change. You can be
Uh-huh.
40 and completely reinvent your life.
There you
There's
go.
always an opportunity for reinvention. But the other thing is, you need to understand that as you grow, as you change in life, as you get older, you have different life experiences and you see
Hmm.
different things that change you internally, that change who you want to be, where you
That's
want to
right.
go, and that is acceptable and that you really need to like embrace it. And I always love to say, feel it in your body. If you're
Hmm.
questioning, if you're saying, maybe this isn't right for me, I don't know. Why am I not having the same joy? Like you
Hmm.
said, I'm not having the same joy with this business as I was with football. I don't feel the same. Feel it in your body. If you want to know if
Yes.
something is right for you or not, feel it in your body.
Your
If you
body.
sit there and sit in the silence for a little bit, question yourself and let yourself feel. You may have anxiety, but
Hmm.
you can tell if it's an expansive feeling where you feel pulled towards it and you feel like, yes,
Exactly.
this is right. I'm nervous, but this is right. Or is it a restriction where you go, oh,
Hmm.
I want nothing to do with that? And
Hmm.
that is such a powerful thing to actually tune into and accept and go with it. And I
Yes.
love that you
Yes.
did that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell
Um,
me a little bit about what it's like to be in the entertainment industry and dancing and choreography and all the fun things.
it could be hard,
Mm.
but at the same time, it's exhilarating because I didn't grow up in the business. And I've always been about, it's always been for me, if you're dominant in what you do, then you get chosen. So when I first
Mhm.
started getting into the business and then I wasn't chosen, and it never seemed about
Mhm.
talent. It always seemed about what I look like. I was like, okay, that was a problem for me. So then I started creating my own things and creating my own productions
Mhm.
and doing my own. And that's how I created the joy because I couldn't allow people, because in this industry, it seems like people enjoy knocking you down. You know what I mean? And you're
Mhm.
not the pro, you know,
Yeah.
people, I've been in places where directors are rude,
Mhm.
next. And that kind of affected me. I wasn't used to that. Yeah, because as an
Mhm.
athlete, it was always about who's the strongest, who's the fastest. I want him. Now it wasn't about
Yeah.
I want him. So I became very resourceful. I started creating my own productions. I started
Mhm.
creating my own theater. I went into a theater group and we would create our own stuff. And once you started creating your own stuff, people start recognizing you and you start getting
Mhm.
better and better as an artist. And then once you're getting better and better as an artist, you meet this person, you meet that person. All of a sudden now you're in this film and in that film. I'm 8 films in at this point. And this
Mhm.
next film I had the lead in, which is coming out. The premiere is this Thursday. So I'm very excited. Very
Congratulations.
excited.
That's
Yes, yes.
amazing.
This Thursday is the premiere,
That's
and it
amazing.
already won. I just got the word yesterday, a big film festival. It won Best Film in the already,
Wow. Wow.
and we're just getting
That's
started.
great.
and all the national news, everybody's talking about it. So this is going to be a big one. But that's how
Can't wait to watch it.
yes, yeah, yes, yes.
Cannot
I
wait to
can't
watch it.
wait. I can't wait.
It's so
But it
exciting. It's so
started when
exciting.
you start doing for yourself. When
Hmm. Yeah.
okay, no, okay, I'll create my own stuff. I'll get around people that are
Mhm.
doing their own stuff. And that's what I did with dance. That's what I did with acting.
Yeah. And that mindset of, I'm not going to accept no. I'm going
Mhm.
to do it myself and I'm going to do it my way is
Yes,
so
yes, yeah.
incredible because so many people hold themselves back and have a mindset of, all right, I can't. And I can tell you that when I was young, I had a mindset of I can't. And one
Mhm.
day it hit me in the face and I was like, wow, I just said that and I didn't even
Mhm.
mean it. You don't
Mhm.
seem to have that. You seem to, and again, you've been through so many things that you learned at a really young age that you could do the thing that everybody
Mhm.
thought you couldn't do. So I
Yes,
think that
yes.
that's just absolutely fantastic.
Mhm.
So going from the professional athlete, and yes, you still are because you dance and do
Tap dance.
fitness, and so that's all very much still professional athlete. But how has the mindset that you developed in sports influenced how you approach reinvention now?
Oh, it's everything. It's everything.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things I want to do, go around the athletes. And that's one of the things that I'm passionate about. I haven't done it yet, but bringing stuff to Unstoppable with the athletes because I want
Mhm.
athletes of all, women, females, football, basketball, tennis, whatever it is where you have to sacrifice yourself in order to be good, when you have to make yourself uncomfortable consistently in order to grow and get better as whatever it is that you're trying to do. You already have the formula to be great at anything because mindset is everything. And once you have the
Mhm.
correct mindset, you take that mindset and you can transform that into anything. Now, the most important thing is to understand that every day you should be growing. Now, I wake up
Mhm.
3:30, 4 o'clock every single morning. Now, I have a good mindset, but who I was yesterday is not who I am tomorrow because I am working on being a better person today. As long as you have that mindset that you can continue to grow, there's not a thing that athletes cannot do. And that's what I learned. I learned that I can
Mhm.
do anything. And I've also learned that the greatest gift that you can give yourself is mastery of the mind. And I'll say that again.
Mhm.
The greatest gift that you can give to yourself is mastery of your mind. Your mind is the most
Absolutely.
powerful thing that you have. And if you
Mhm.
can click on that awareness every morning and be aware of how you feel, what your attitude is, what your focus is, and you work on bettering yourself, bettering your attitude, understanding that I choose how to feel this day. I choose my thoughts. Every day I walk into the day talking about how can I earn my own respect? These are the
Mhm.
thoughts, emotionally. If I'm taking in baggage from yesterday, I write it down. If I'm feeling anxious, I write it down. I'm feeling anxious today. Then I say to myself, you have no control over what happened yesterday. But what you do
Mhm.
have control over is how you respond today, how you feel today. Tell yourself what your emotions are going to be. That's called emotional regulations, which is not
Mhm.
something that you learn, that's a skill that you develop. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely. Our brain likes to keep us stuck.
yes, yes, yes. The key to it is you have to click on that awareness because 90,
Hmm.
I forget the percentage, this crazy percent of people are on automatic. And it's
Yes.
like you're a leaf and the wind kind of blows you wherever it wants to blow you. You're like a person in a boat without a rudder and you're letting the water take you where it wants. You can
Yeah.
control from the time you get up what you think and how you feel. And if
Yes.
you can do
Yes.
that,
So that is our subconscious is running us 95% of the time, and our
yes,
conscious brain is only 5%. It could even be less.
less. It's less
There's
than,
still
yeah.
debate about that. But that's the thing. Everybody thinks that we're controlling everything that we
Mhm,
do consciously in the moment. But think about
mhm,
something simple like taking a shower. Everybody tends to have a routine when they take a shower, right? You don't even think about it. You don't go, okay, I'm going to shampoo my hair now, and then I'm going to do this. You just do it automatically because you have developed the habit of it and it's in your
mhm,
subconscious running you. And
mhm,
if you forget one thing, first of all, that can throw you off completely because you can go, wait, did I do that? I don't even remember
mhm,
now because you're not consciously doing it.
mhm,
And
mhm.
also, you may just skip the step completely. So if you are not using your conscious brain, your unconscious is running you. And the thing is, whatever
The
you
whole
feed
time.
into your brain, your conscious brain has the ability to choose whether to accept that information or reject it. Your
Exactly.
subconscious does not have a choice. It goes in and it stays in. So whatever
That's
you're
right.
putting into your mind, if you're putting into your mind, I can't do it. I'm not going to be able to do it.
Mhm.
That's what you're going to find your brain
That's
is
right.
looking for to
Mhm,
prove. So you're
mhm.
100% right that you have to put that stuff into your brain and you have to wake up and say, it's going to be a great day. Yesterday could have been crap, but
That's
today's going
right.
to be a great day. I'm going
That's
to
right.
make it a great day. And
That's
everything is what you choose. And it's the thoughts that you have create the feelings that gives
mhm,
you what your behavior is, your action, and
mhm.
that gives you your results. You don't
That's
like your
right.
results, go back to what you were thinking.
That's right. That's right. That's the key. That's the key. And,
Hmm.
I've been learning your day is dictated before 8 o'clock. Your
Mm,
day is dictated before 8 o'clock. In other words, most people are allowing the day to move on. So by the time 8 o'clock happens, they have already been switched away and have no control over what's happening. But if you can take the time to get up early and do the regimen of checking your attitude, checking your thoughts, checking your emotions, then you create the day. And the other thing they talk about
hmm
that I've learned is filtering out what comes in. Because when you wake up in the
hmm
morning, there's a small, or a couple seconds when you go from unconscious to conscious. So you have
mm,
to, at that point, be able to wake up and control. Because if you can get up and control what goes on, you can actually control your thoughts, you can control how you feel,
hmm
and you can control what you do that day. But it has to be
yeah.
done in the morning, that when that's because you have that split time between when it goes from the unconscious to the conscious. You know what I'm saying? When you wake
hmm
up, yeah,
Is
yeah.
that
So
the theta? Yes, the
yes,
theta.
yes, yes,
Yes.
yeah.
And it's
Theta and alpha state,
that's a
alpha
super
state.
powerful time because that's where you're not consciously choosing things, you're not unconsciously choosing things. It's kind of like the perfect spot. And the
Yes, yes,
information can
yeah.
really get into you. And I think that is really powerful to have a morning routine
Mm-hmm.
because when you do that, and you have to do it specifically, you have to choose what it is that you want to do in the mornings to help you get that great start to the day because there are
Yes.
a lot of people that when they wake up they stub their toe, they're in a bad mood, they have cold water and they don't have hot water, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
might be, it could put you into a bad mood, but you get to choose whether or not you
That's
want
right.
to let that happen to you. And you
Mm-hmm.
get to choose, all right, am I going to let the rest of my day be bad because I stubbed my toe, or am I going to
Mm-hmm.
say, all right, I stubbed my toe, what can I do next, what do I
Right,
get to
right.
do next? And
Yes.
people can have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. And the fixed
Mm-hmm.
mindset, you're going to be stuck wherever you
That's
are
right.
always if you're not
Yes.
willing to entertain other ideas. And you're right,
Mm-hmm.
awareness is key to everything. And
Mm-hmm.
once you are aware, you have to acknowledge it and you
Mm-hmm.
have to, then you have that power of choice.
Yes.
I think that's the
Choices.
biggest power that we have in the world.
Yes. Yes. It's the greatest
Yeah.
gift is choice. One of the things I
Yeah.
hate hearing is when they say, that's me. That's my, I'm keeping it real. That's how I am. And I'm like,
Mm.
no, that
Ah.
you don't have to be like that. That's your choice.
Hmm.
You're choosing to be like
Yes.
that. No, that's just me. And then, people think that's cool. And then we have a
Mm.
society and television that really supports that kind of thought process. Oh, I'm a
Hmm.
react because that's just how I am. No. You don't have to be like
Yes.
that. You don't have to respond because she said something to you, because that gives
Yep.
her or him the power over you when they can say
Right.
something to you and all of a sudden you fly off the handle. But because
Mm-hmm.
of society and how things are viewed now, that is viewed as something, as a badge of honor when you fly off the handle because somebody said something to you. To me,
Right.
and,
Or
and
I'm just that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That kind of rhetoric just that bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
Bothers me. It really does,
Yeah.
because you don't have to be that. You don't have to be that
Right.
at all. You have a choice.
Nope.
You have a choice
Yep.
always.
Yeah. I always used to say I'm not a morning person and I'm a night owl. And the truth is, I get to choose to get up earlier. I get to
Mhm.
choose what
That's
I want
right.
to do. And if I want to say I'm a morning person, well, that's what I'm putting in my head. That's what I'm always going to believe. So
Hmm.
I've changed it to morning isn't my favorite time, but I like to get up and get things done. And
Right.
I notice
Right.
the switch makes me get up earlier, makes me do things
Hmm.
earlier in the morning, and I feel more accomplished. And it's a great
Hmm.
feeling. You get to
Hmm.
choose. I think that's so
Yeah.
powerful. So, your show is called The Power of Reinvention. What's the
Yes.
biggest lie people believe about reinvention?
That you can't, that you're too old, that you're too
Mm-hmm.
stuck, that I'm too old. I have a group of ladies called Moms in the Hood, and they're world famous. And they're women well, they're in their 60s and 70s now. But when we first started, they were in their 40s and 50s. This was like 20 something years ago. And this is back when hip hop was urban and for the young kids. I taught them how to
Mm-hmm.
dance and break dance, and they became world famous because
Wow.
they understood that anything is possible at any age. I taught
Mm-hmm.
them that that you can dance and don't worry about what, because these are upward mobile white ladies, right? And
Mm-hmm.
don't worry about what your friends are doing or saying. If this is what you love
Mm-hmm.
doing, let's do it. I'm here with you. You know what I mean? And we became world famous with people knowing them all over the world, commercials. We've done TV. We did the Ellen show because
Wow.
they believed that anything is possible at any age. And that's the one thing
Mm-hmm.
that I think people don't understand. They think they're too old, they think they're not smart enough, or whatever the case, they think
Mm-hmm.
they're not. When actually
Yeah.
you are all you need to get everything that you want. And that's the biggest
Mm-hmm.
misconception, I think, when it comes to reinvention.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I took brain science course and
Mhm.
loved learning. I love to learn. And that's actually super important for people in general is to
To
always
keep,
be experiencing new things,
yes,
novelty in your life, all the way up until the very end.
that's right.
And that's one of the things I learned is that that is one of the pillars of a healthy brain is novelty and that we have neuroplasticity and neurogenesis.
Yes,
Your brain can create new neural pathways at any
yes.
time. And so
Hmm.
it you start something new, okay, so it starts to create. You keep doing it. The more you
Hmm.
do it, the stronger that new neural pathway is, the stronger it
Yes.
becomes a part of you. And that so you can change it anytime. Of course, you stop doing it, you lose it, but you
Hmm.
do it, you can change at any time. You can add a new
Hmm.
thing into your life at any time. And that's incredibly important. And I think that's one
Hmm.
of the things that I really learned through like the whole pandemic was I love being able to go and try something new and I'm stuck here
Hmm.
at home. So what can I do here at home that's new for
Hmm.
me? I was always trying to do different crafts and read different
Hmm.
books and things so that I could keep my brain active because that
That's
was a
right.
long period of time being stuck home.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. I was just going to say, just in terms of
Yeah.
the neural pathways, that's so true.
Mm.
Affirmations.
Mhm.
It's one of the other things that I encourage and teach to people about is affirmations. Affirmations can literally change the neural pathways of the brain. In other
Mhm.
words, we look at words as communications tools, but they're actually reality shapers as well. You can literally
Mhm.
tell yourself you're going to do something. And if you tell yourself that over and over again, day in and day out, you can actually do whatever it is that you're saying. And one of the things I
Yeah.
do is every morning I have affirmations. I have an affirmation up here right now, and it says, I was built for impact. And every room I walk into, every room I walk into rises because I'm there. I just forgot it. But that's
Mhm.
that's one. I have three of them, but one of it, I was built for impact, and every room I walk into rises because I'm there. You say that every day, and then when you walk into rooms, people feel you. It's a gravitational pull.
Mhm.
I've seen it, I've
Mhm.
experienced it, you know what I mean? And it's a
Mhm.
matter of just understanding that you just have to do the small things consistently, and they create massive
Yep.
internal shifts.
I love that because I have two up on my wall in front of me also, and one of them says I can and I will, and the
Uh,
other one says stay positive, work hard, and make it happen.
nice,
And
nice.
I look at those all the time. That's why they're up in front of me, just like
Uh-huh.
yours are. And
Yeah, yeah.
so the thing about affirmations is a lot of people think like they go back to the SNL skit of, I forget what his name was, they says, I'm kind, all these things. And people joke about it, but it's really true that what you tell yourself goes into your brain and
That's
stays
right.
in there, and your brain is trying to prove you right. So it's called the reticular activating system. And what you put in there, it's like acts like a filter, and it tries to find and prove you right. And it will
Right.
prove you right, whatever you put in there. So if
That's
it's I
right.
can't and I won't,
It'll prove you right.
you
That's right.
you won't be able to. Absolutely not. Yes.
Uh-huh.
So I that's just so powerful.
Yep.
Absolutely.
One of the things that
Um,
somebody said to me years ago, I'll just say this for those that are listening,
mm,
is Michael Jordan, people like Kobe Bryant.
mhm,
What do you think they were
mhm,
saying to themselves long before they became who they were? Do you think they were saying, I can't? Or do you think they were saying, "Yeah, I'm the best. Ain't nobody can stop me"?
mhm.
Those words make a difference because I promise you,
Yes.
if they were out there shooting basketballs talking about, I can't make the shot, they would not be the person they are today.
Mhm.
So
Right.
just think
Right.
about that when you think about whether affirmations work.
Hmm. Absolutely. They absolutely work. It's amazing what you can do when you tell yourself what you
Hmm.
believe.
That's right.
Because when you tell yourself these things, you start to believe it. And the world will start to show you that you're right. And the other thing that you talked about was that you draw people in. It's an energy thing, it's the
Hmm.
vibration. Everything is energy, and energy is everything.
Yes.
And when you're
Yeah.
feeling really low, you vibrate at a level, a frequency that
Of the
attracts the
frequency.
same. So when you
Hmm.
vibrate really high, you're attracting the same frequency. And
Yes.
you'll
Yes.
notice things like when you grow, people that maybe were in your circle that are not growing and don't want to see other people grow because they're stuck where they are, you tend
Hmm.
to end up losing touch with them, not because you didn't love them, not because they weren't your friend, but because
Hmm.
you're up here and they're down here.
Right.
And
Right.
so you have two options. You find people that are up here and you vibrate up to them. You bring this person up to you if they're
Hmm.
willing to grow, or they pull you down.
Right.
So you
Right.
get to choose that also. You get to
Hmm.
choose.
I mean, we
That's one
were
of my
in
favorite words in the world.
yes, we were in a New York City mastermind that Sifu and
Hmm.
myself and Jose, but you just talk about a vibrational energy. That was the quintessential vibrate. It was just so energizing to be just to walk
Hmm.
in that room and feel the vibrations and the frequencies of all people, like-minded people together trying to help one another out with one purpose in mind, and that's to build and to help others. It was just the most incredible feeling, and you just walk away from that so energized. And I would, if we could just bottle that up and
Yeah.
sell it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We would make millions. But the problem is
Yeah.
that some people would probably reject it. Some people like being
Right.
miserable. You know what I mean? For
Right.
whatever reason. Yeah.
Oh, I know some of them. Yep. Unfortunately, but you're right. And that room was, I don't even know how to explain it. It was like magical,
Magical. That's what
because
I call
we
it.
were
Yes.
all just vibrating on such a high level. Everybody connected with each other. Everybody
Yes.
walked away with, we were all walking around the room, tapping each other's phones to get,
Phone. Yep.
share
Yep.
contacts and everything. And we all felt like, all right, we're family here. We're friends, we're family, but also we're colleagues. And we can, even if we're not in the same industry, we can connect and help each
Yep.
other. And
Hmm.
that right there is what the world needs more of.
Yes.
Absolutely. I just
Yes.
got goosebumps. It was
Yeah.
so powerful.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was.
So
Yes, it
thank
was.
you for being one of the co-hosts of that because you, Sifu, and Jose all brought together everybody that came to this room and you
Hmm.
brought that energy. So you're vibrating at this level, and then you brought people in who are also there, who also have the same desire to grow their own business, the same desire to grow each other as people, to serve each
Hmm.
other. And when you walk out of a room like that, you just feel different.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he had people
Yeah.
that were going to come and they didn't come and they missed it. And it's like a
Hmm.
genie in the bottle. You
Yeah.
just blew it. You missed it because
Yeah.
stuff like that doesn't, and I'm sure Atlanta be its own experience, but this
Hmm.
particular experience, whoever wasn't there
Yeah.
missed it, and they missed the genie in
Yeah.
the bottle, as I say. Yeah.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I'm thrilled that I was there. In your experience, what separates people who inspire others from those who simply just try to motivate? Because I think in that room, it was motivational, but it was much more inspirational.
Yes, yes. I noticed that people pivoted because
Hmm.
it wasn't just about motivation, it was about inspiring
Hmm.
people from the inside out. That was the one, including myself, and I can definitely speak for myself. I came
Yeah.
in there to say one thing that was completely different than what I spoke about. And it was because I had experienced some things and I was able to handle them. I wanted to share that experience with each one of you guys to let you know that when you really focus on working on yourself and you work on that mindset, it really works because this is how it
Mhm.
worked. This is how I handled this situation, which under other circumstances, I might not have handled it like that. But because I work on the mindset, I'm coming here today late. I'm coming here without my suit on because I'm here to tell you that the mindset is a powerful thing. And I
Mhm.
shared to inspire, but from the inside. And then I noticed people were shifting and doing the same thing. And it just was just like this
Mhm.
love fest of experiences. And it was just beautiful. It just really was. It was fantastic.
And that's very inspiring because you're speaking from the heart there. You were
Yes.
speaking from your heart and your soul. And I love that other people end up doing the same thing. They all pivoted. And that was one of
Yep.
the things that we all talked about was everybody pivoted to bring it and everything just came together so well.
Yes.
And each
Yes.
speech kind of built upon the other one. It was amazing to watch.
Yes.
So I want to know if someone's listening to this and feels stuck right now, stuck in their life, stuck in a job, stuck in the mindset, what's one thing you'd want them to know?
That's stuck is where you are. It's not who you are. And at any
Hmm.
point in time that you can unstuck yourself by just making a couple of moves. And I would say, get with you or get with me. If you don't have the money to
Hmm.
do that, then surround yourself. Environment is everything because proximity is power,
Hmm.
y'all. Understand
Yes.
that is who you surround yourself with. So the
Hmm.
first thing I would do is start surrounding myself and get in rooms like this. If you can't get into rooms, then get online because it's about who you surround yourself because that vibrational energy, those frequencies are powerful and they're real.
Hmm.
So if you're looking to
Yes.
change, understand that you're stuck, being stuck is temporary. It's not who you are. It's where you are
Mhm.
at this present moment. And you can make a decision today to get out of stuck just by
Yes,
surrounding yourself
absolutely.
or getting in
Yeah.
contact with Heather or getting in contact
Yeah.
with myself. We can help you get there. But if you're not ready for that, I would say environment is everything. Environment
Yes.
is
You're most,
everything.
Jim Rohn says you're most like the five people that you spend
That's you, sir.
most of your time with, that you
That's right.
surround yourself with. So that's
That's
exactly
right.
right. All
Hmm.
right. And one last question for you. What does living a life beyond BS mean to you? Beyond the belief systems and the bullshit that society puts on us.
living real, living in your purpose.
Mm.
For me, it would be living in my purpose and continuing to live in my purpose. And that my purpose has never been about the BS. It's always been about others. It's always been about being the best that I could be. So definitely living in my purpose.
Love
That
it.
would be a short,
Awesome.
because now that I think about it, living in my, continuing to live in my purpose
Mm.
and do God's work.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And growing with it. Love it.
Yes.
Love it.
Every day,
Well, I
every
want to
day.
thank you so much. Yeah. I want to thank you so much, Lancelot, for being on my podcast today. I'm very honored that you were my special guest today. And I want to say to everybody, thank you so much for sharing this space with me and with Lancelot. My hope is that you walk away knowing that you have the power to choose differently. Go live fully, freely, and unapologetically. Your life beyond BS starts now. I'm so grateful you were here today. Remember, your peace, joy, and happiness aren't found in the BS. They're found in your choices. If this episode spoke to you, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe, and share it with a friend. For ways to connect or work with me, check the show notes or visit heathermcnally.com. Until next time, keep choosing you and keep living your life beyond BS.